It's that time of the year when artists around the world unite and create some very wet creatures. I am of course talking about Mermay. Don't get any bright ideas. Yes, social media is full of fun mainstream challenges that we artists cling to and be consistent for a whole month and ultimately fail because honestly, who has the time and energy to draw a new character every day for 31 days? I did. Or at least that's what past me thought. You see, I have this very bright optimism from time to time that seems to forget all about responsibilities and just general life stuff that gets in the way of doing, the art. Partly why it took me more than a month to get another video done. Enough about me, let's dive right into the content you probably clicked on this video for. So, if you're watching this video, it's probably because you're an artist who's participating in Mermay or at least knows what it's about. But in case someone is watching this and has no clue what I'm talking about, let me quickly break it down for you. Mermay is an art challenge created by Tom Bancroft, who, if you don't know, is an artist who has worked on various Disney projects such as The Lion King, Pocahontas, and happens to be the one who designed Mushu for Milan, so a pretty respectable guy. Anyway, he decided that every May, he, along with some collaborators, would come up with a prompt list for every day of the month. And using these prompts, artists around the world would draw mermaids. This year, they made this prompt list that I'll put on screen now for you guys. And for this video, I'll be working with the 5th prompt, toy. I know that by the time this video comes out, it'll be like the 10th or 11th or whatever. I don't even know when I'll be releasing this video, but for the purpose of this video, just, pretend like it's the 5th of May, I guess. So whenever I start a project, the first thing I do is look for some inspiration, because it doesn't come out of thin air. I then gather all my references in this neat little website called Milanote. I highly recommend it for anyone who hasn't tried it. Once I have all my references, I start doing some sketches just to get out all the bad ideas, try to narrow down my concept and see where it takes me. So I'll just let you guys just watch my process here, and then I'll jump back in if there's anything noteworthy to talk about, and yeah. I normally don't do like a ton of sketching to get to a design that I'm happy with. My usual process is just jumping straight into it and kind of winging it. But I did like the second design I came up with the doll aesthetic and the hair being really artificial in some way. So that's kind of the idea I ended up running with in the final sketches. Because the way that I've been approaching Mermay so far is taking the prompt very literal. I don't know, I guess that was the easiest way to go, and with my busy schedule and stuff, it was a comfortable route, if you can call it that. As you can see with the sketch I'm doing now, I wanted to kind of emulate that doll hair look, because I wanted to go a bit further than just a literal toy sense, so that basically she's not a literal toy, but her appearance just kind of mimics toys in some way. Or maybe she found a doll at the bottom of the sea and ended up being so in love with it and thinking it was, a beautiful doll, so she decided to change her appearance to look more like it, because maybe she looks up to humans and think that that's what humans look like. In that way also create some storytelling behind the design and not just have like a random design that I came up with. Now this last design that I did not like at all. I was running out of ideas because I was so fixed on that past concept that I came up with that it was just to fill out the page basically. So you can pretty much just ignore that. Once I decided that I wanted to use the second design as the base for my character, I went in and did some more face sketches just to get the general vibe and color palette down. Here I experiment with the color palette, just trying to see what works and what doesn't, because I knew that I wanted her skin to be pale and her hair to be blonde to further push the fact that she based her appearance on a doll she found. Once I felt like the colors worked together, I just went ahead and did one final face concept before moving on to the actual illustration. I got rudely interrupted by the friendly neighborhood rent-free cat. So here is an overall look at some of the sketches I did, the experimentation behind the final piece. And I don't know, I wasn't too happy with the overall sketches. The final face design was alright, I guess, and you know, it was a good base for the illustration I was gonna do. Now we get to the juicy part of the video, the actual drawing. I just start by drawing the foundation, sketching out the overall pose, the shape of the body more or less, just so I can get a general idea of what I want the composition to be. I made the mistake of not doing any thumbnail sketches beforehand, so I was just like jumping straight into it, but that's normally how I work anyway, so I'm used to just diving straight into the drawing and just seeing where things go. I do want to get better at actually planning out my drawings, which is why I did this whole elaborate video to begin with. Because normally I just, as I mentioned, jump straight into drawings and it just ends up, you know, it's a mess, but it ends up being alright in the end, if you know what I mean. But yeah, no matter what, I always start with a good foundation for the drawing, making sure the composition is okay, placing the head where it needs to be, connecting it to the body, you know, all the basic stuff. So, as any artist, I really struggle with the hand poses for this one. Like, you'll see, I erase them and redraw them so many times here. I end up having to move the doll that she's holding away just to, you know, draw the hands first and add the doll on top, draw the fingers where they need to go, and it was a mess. I was not prepared for that. But that's what this is all about, improving, trying new things, new poses, all that stuff. Now that the sketch is done, I just turn down the opacity, go to a different layer. I picked a dark red, like a Bordeaux red, to use as the ink rather than a black, because I feel like sometimes black is just too opaque and it's nice to use a more diluted tone, especially when you're working with with more organic things like a human figure or something. I just prefer to use like a dark red or a saturated brown or something along those lines. You can always go in later, you can create a clipping mask on top of the ink layer, and you can always draw over with black where it needs to be. Now that we're nearing the end of the inking process, I decided just to do a speed paint in the end for the actual coloring process, because it's the most fun part, but also I don't want to bore you with, showing you every little step of the way, that can be for a live draw with me or something, but I'm just gonna do a Procreate speed paint for this one, just to get it over with, and then we'll move into the background design. I wish I could give some input on how I approach coloring, but really I just go hands-on and just see what works, what doesn't. Keep adding colors until it looks alright. And so this is what she looks like before I move into the background design. Alright, background design. This is another part that I'm not used to doing. But for this mermaid, I've been trying to do some more detailed backgrounds, trying to work with some storytelling through the environment that the character is in. Because I feel like, the background itself is a character, and it can say a lot about the story that's taking place, or the story that I'm imagining for the character. Almost more so than the character itself. So that's why I've been trying to work more with background design. For this one, I went on Pinterest and I just found some examples of some underwater scenery, just to get like a basic idea of the color scheme, how the light might change on the character, which you'll also see I do later. Whenever I have a character that is taking place in a night scene, I will add a layer of blue or purple on top, turn down the opacity, and then just erase where the highlights would be. It adds like a really nice ambience, and it just creates a really nice vibe for the character in general. And so I ended up doing this here because obviously she's underwater, so it wouldn't be as bright and saturated as what it was before. It would be more of a dulled down color scheme.
Approximately 10 hours later.
So I just added like a purple layer on top and erased where the highlights would be. And for the background itself, I was really struggling with getting the colors down because obviously it'll go from light on top to the dark part on the bottom, but I felt like the gradients was a bit too simplistic, like it needed some more texture to it. So I just added some brush strokes here and there, some simple rocks in the foreground just to, simulate that there's a seafloor going on here. And then some kelp as well, just to further add to that underwater feeling. But in general, I'm not very good or consistent when it comes with backgrounds, and that's another thing that I'm definitely going to be working on in the future, along with costume design. Really another aspect all on itself that I could talk about, so I'm just going to leave that for a different video. Yeah, so this is the final drawing. I really like how it turned out. I feel like I really pushed the story a bit more with this one compared to the other mermaid drawings that I've done that you can check out on Instagram if you're interested. I want to thank you guys for watching. And if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments. I'm still trying to figure this whole YouTube thing out. As you can tell, I'm very new to this. I don't have a great editing program or anything. I'm literally recording this on my phone in my bedroom right now. let me know if you have any ideas for future videos you will want to see from me. We'll be doing a lot of character-based stuff, so expect more of that in the future. I do not know when the next video is gonna come around. Hopefully this month, but seeing as how long this took, it may take longer. I don't know, depends if I can get an idea and push the drawing out as quickly as possible, but we'll see. Alright, that's all for now. Bye!